Hello everybody and welcome to Bear Update. This is the second edition of the show and we are excited that you all came back to us once again. Now speaking of that, I'm Poncho Holland and my guest today is none other than Brother Rob Musick from University of Pikeville. Brother Rob, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing really well. Thanks for having me.
Oh man, it's a pleasure to always be interviewing you and stuff, sir. But let me start off with the first question. Tell me something about mission trips. How did you get your start in doing mission trips?
That's a great question. My first mission trip was in the year 2000. Went with a small group of people from my church to a border place right in Mexico. And in that week I was really moved by a couple experiences. One with a 14-year-old girl who was working on a house, and the other was we visited a, what you call, I guess you'd, for lack of better terms, kind of a dump site, a trash site, where people were living and making their living, and my eyes were completely open. I had no idea that people lived that way. I was very, very ignorant, very kind of into myself, and that trip was very moving. And I thought, I think this is really helpful for most people because most people are like me. We're into ourselves and our own kind of. We think the world is just what we've seen, and so I thought, man, I want to help other people connect with this kind of mind-blowing reality. So that was my first trip, and of course since then we have traveled some more.
Oh, and like you said, Brother Rob, about different countries and stuff. Like Americans, see, we got it made as far as being able to have freedom and do what we want to. But when you go to a different country and visit their side of the story, man, you're just so amazed by that.
Absolutely. I think the key is always being able to do everything you can to try to see it from somebody else's perspective, because we never really know until we walk into someone else's shoes.
Oh, I agree with you there. Now, speaking of Haiti, what makes Haiti so special about UPAC?
Well, I think, a couple things. Number one, it's a land of mountains, just like our region, and Haiti has been a forgotten place. I mean, we think about the countries that are right off the American border, and of course everyone knows about Canada and Mexico because they butt up against us. They share common borders, but a lot of people have focused on Cuba and some other countries, but Haiti is the poorest country on this side of the world, and it's 200 miles from the Florida border. And I think, how in the world can we allow our neighbors, the people right at our gate, to starve to death? To me, it's criminal. So when we had an opportunity to kind of focus ourselves on the country, I said, man, Haiti is an opportunity. It's a short flight. It's relatively inexpensive to do international travel. We don't leave the time zone, and there are so many parallels, specifically the lack of education, lack of access to education. And that was why our founders started our school, was for education. So I said, man, there's something special we can partner with.
Oh, most definitely. Now, I know you take mission trips not only in different countries, but in different states and cities. Mm-hmm. But explain to me something. What is the difference between doing mission trips in the USA compared to other countries?
That's a good question. Actually, I guess let's start from the kind of the simple, right? The big thing is you don't need a passport and there's no plane involved.
I agree.
The other thing is, I think with our internet or our national trips, there can be some surprises that go on just in the fact of paralleling what we know as rural living here in Pikeville as opposed to urban living in places like Detroit, Chicago, D.C. So we try to do a couple urban trips every year and to say, man, this is just a part of the United States. This is really right down the road, and things are very different.
Oh, man, most definitely. Now, understand, correct me if I'm wrong, but I understand you're taking a mission trip on Atlanta, Georgia.
Right. Our spring break trip, we're going to Atlanta, so we'll leave on Sunday. Actually, a little different than we normally do, because usually it's as soon as we wake up on that Saturday morning, we hit the door running. But Atlanta's only 7 hours, so we'll leave on Sunday, right after church, and then drive down to Atlanta, where we'll be focused all week on urban needs of the city of Atlanta and what that looks like for us to partner.
Now, let me ask you something. Now, if this is some students' first time being on a mission trip, what can you expect from them as far as their first trip? And what do you expect with God's presence, the outcome of the mission trip?
Right. I think there are a couple things I ask my students to do. Number one, just have a real flexible spirit, because anytime you go to serve, you never really know what you're going to expect. I mean, you never really know what you're going to encounter. So we can create a fancy agenda and say, we're going to do this, this, and this, but that may not work. So we, one, have to be flexible. But number two, I think, and for me, the key is being willing to serve and however you're asked. So that means if we go to Atlanta for all week and we have to clean bathrooms and fold clothes for people, then that's what we're going to do, because we were there to serve. And I think the really critical thing is when you go to serve a person, they set the agenda. We don't come in and say, well, we're going to do this, this, and this. This is what we're going to do for you. To me, that's very top down. It's very arrogant, as opposed to coming in and saying, we have a lot we can learn from you, and what is it that you're already doing? How can we partner with that? So I think that kind of sense of humility and flexibility, the servant attitude, is what I ask. And if students can provide that, then everything else can be worked out, minor details.
Oh, man, that's a lot of good information there, brother. Now, let me ask you just one quick question. How can if a student wants to get involved in mission trips, how would you recommend that they get involved, and what advice would you give them?
Well, if they want to get involved with something going on at the university, they should just reach out to me. Come see me, email me, Facebook, whatever, make it direct. But if they're interested in doing any kind of just general trip, maybe outside the university, they can, come see me and I'll help them, connect them with resources, because oftentimes we have students who say, well, this time doesn't work for me, but I have a week in the summer I'd like to do something. And really, when you think about serving people, the options are unlimited. So really, I want to find out about the student, what their interest is, what skills, where do they want to serve, and we can work hard to find them a place. So I would say just reach out to me, and we will help find the most individualized focus and support them in what they feel called to do.
Oh, now, like every great group or every great team, whatever, you have your old guys, you have your veterans that's been there and done that. And then you have your young guys, whatever, you have your young freshmen. But when the older people teach the younger people as far as the mission trips, how does that help you as a chaplain?
Well, now that I've been here over 4 years, we start to see some students who've really been with me for a while, specifically on trips like Haiti and others. I'll give you a really good example. One of my students who's traveled with me for 3 years, recently we took a trip with students to Memphis. That wasn't so much a missions trip as it was kind of cultural learning, but I could lean on those leaders, and I could take a group this way, and that student could take a group that way. And I knew with 100% that student was going to represent the university, be a servant to those other students, and was going to do right, make really good judgments. So it was kind of like multiplying leadership. And I thought, man, I can sleep well at night knowing that our students have really matured and they have that type of servant heart.
Oh, man, I definitely understand that. Now, let me get my invisible time watch. I think we got time for maybe one or two more questions. As a chaplain, what separates this mission trip from all the past other mission trips?
Good question. Well, I think one, geographic location. This is the first time we're going to Atlanta. And secondly, every trip is different because of the people who come on. I think this is one of the things maybe some of our students at UPike don't realize, is that their presence actually changes the entire dynamic. Whether it's your presence in the classroom, your presence on the team, your presence in that club, when you are involved, it automatically changes. So depending on the dynamic of our team, it will be really different. So I really try to leave my expectations at the door when it comes to our trips, because every group is different.
Now, since you started mission trips, what have you learned and how have you grown spiritually?
I have learned that we have, and I don't mean this is not, I'm trying not to be cliche and all that, but I have learned that we have some of the best students in the country. Our first mission trip to Haiti was really rough. I didn't really know exactly what to expect, and our students were flexible and willing to serve and willing to sleep on the floor and do that kind of stuff. And every time I travel, I'm amazed by students' willingness to be open and be available, and that really challenges me to kind of check my arrogance at the door.
Oh, man. And then here's the thing, like when people don't realize, when you take mission trips, when you help out in the community organization, not only does that looks good on your resume, but it helps you as a person grow.
Yeah, I think that's the key. We always think that we're going to serve other people. It's like, I'm going to go do this for you. But really, the challenge is anytime that you authentically and openly engage another human being, you learn and you move and you are changed. And I think that's the beautiful dynamic of human interaction, right?
Yes,
And
sir.
when I begin to see it through somebody else's eyes, my heart is changed.
Oh man, most definitely. Now, is there anything else you'd like to say before we close this program?
No, I think I just really challenge students to move beyond their norm, whether that means maybe taking an elective class that they've never thought about before. Maybe they're going to take a film and media arts class and they're hardcore in the sciences. Or maybe that means taking a weekend trip, or maybe it means traveling internationally. I don't think that there is one size fits all. I don't think everyone has to travel overseas. I don't think that. But I just really encourage students that in these 4 or 5 years they're here at the university, that just allow themselves to be stretched, because in that stretching we find out more about ourselves and we become a more whole person. So I think that's the beauty about the missions trip, right? Learn to serve, stretch yourself, be open, and find out how you're changing the process.
Oh man, that is some great information right there. Now, my invisible watch, of course, just to pop you up another question. So you're going to get a bonus question
Oh,
today,
wonderful,
Brother Rob.
okay?
Now, if a student wants to do mission trips, but they can only do them here in the States, how could they apply to do them in the countries?
Oh, how could they do them locally, right?
Yes, sir.
Well, I think, again, I think that there are a host of opportunities. For example, if we have some seniors who don't know what they're going to do next year, we have all kinds of gap year opportunities where people can serve. I mean, I just was talking with an organization yesterday that are looking for volunteers, and they're 2 counties up. So if you can dream it, there's an opportunity, and whether that means right here in Pikeville or that means in Pakistan, there are opportunities for students, and you just have to be willing to ask and be willing to go. When I was 20 and I crossed that border, I did not know Spanish, I didn't know the other people on my team, but what I knew was this was a rare window of my life where I didn't have, tons of kids and a big mortgage and all these bills, and that's the time to go, because I know that now here I am in my mid-30s with 3 children and, a house payment and all that kind of jazz, is that it becomes more complicated the older you get. You think, oh, I'm going to get all this stuff out of the way and then I'm going to do, and really the key is you got to do it now. If you want to do anything, you want to see change in your life, you got to do it now. Don't put it off.
Oh, exactly. I remember a time in high school, like where I was in school with a bunch of kids, and we was just like, man, we want to pass the classes and just go on. But when you get in college, though, you learn so much, and that's the time you have to grow, is college days, I think.
Yeah, and I think, oftentimes, and I didn't realize this when I was in school, I always thought that learning only happened in the classroom, but it turns out the 4 years of college, everything can be a learning opportunity, whether that's in the group that you're in, the club you're in, or the sports team that you're in. Every opportunity has potential for you to grow as a human being, and just don't waste it. Life is precious, it's short, and drink every moment in and make it an opportunity to really learn.
Oh, most definitely. Brother Rob, I think we're almost out of time, man, so we're going to have to cut this, unfortunately. But it's great interviewing you once again, brother.
Thank you. This has been a great experience.
Oh, definitely. Well, from everybody, I'm Poncho Holland, and this is Bears Update. We'll see you next time.
Hey, that was great, everybody.
And welcome back to Bear Update. I'm Christian Wright, and I'm joined by a very special guest, Dr. Roya Attar, the Assistant Dean of Student Affairs from the Musick School of Optometry. Dr. Roya, pleasure to have you here.
Thank you. I'm glad to be invited.
So with the Optometry School quickly coming into being with the first class, I believe, starting this coming fall, I believe?
Yes. August 1st this year.
Have all the positions been filled, and if so, what are we looking at?
Currently, we have 34 seat deposits. Those are guaranteed seats. That's about halfway, a little over halfway to capacity.
All right. For anyone looking to apply for the school, what are the exact criteria for application?
Well, For the application to apply to the program, you actually need to apply via a centralized web-based application via Optomcast. And on there, once you log on, you designate our program, the Kentucky College of Optometry, and wherein you'll go in to be able to see all of our prerequisites, which are also listed on our website. And basically, if you are a science major, it has a lot of your science, chemistry, physics, and a couple of other specific courses that are listed, like I said, on our website and on the application website that you would need to complete prior to being admitted.
Fantastic. With the optometry school being built, how do you think it will affect our region?
Well, I will tell you, coming to this region, every morning I wake up to the most beautiful, majestic mountains. It's beautiful. It is really breathtaking. But despite that, this region has a lot of health problems. It is designated as Owsley County is designated as the worst county of blindness due to secondary diseases such as diabetes and hypertension. People here are just not getting the right type of health care. So we hope to change that culture, and we hope that we're bringing health care to this region, similar to the med school that brought it here almost 20 years ago now, and helping to serve the people of Appalachia and really all of America, and helping to educate and train future clinicians from our program.
What type of impact do you want the optometry school to have directly on the region?
Well, similarly to what I just said, we hope that the program will positively impact this area. I can already tell you that just from our applicant pool, we have some great applicants right here that are homegrown, some of our best ones. And when we interview them, they're exceptional students, always have been interested in pursuing optometry, but they don't want to leave home. They want to come back home. And if they do, they want to come back home and serve this region. So I can already tell you that we're already helping to educate a whole new generation of doctors in this region that are going to serve the people of this region. Pikeville, like I said, since I've moved here, it has changed dramatically. It is really a booming town, and I am a very proud citizen of it. So.
That's fantastic. How did you get started with the UPike Optometry School?
Well, in my previous career, I was, long before I went into becoming an optometrist, I was in the sales and marketing field, and I always knew I was going to become a doctor. So I went back and went to optometry school, and there I was fortunate to make some very strong connections, and one of which being the founding dean of this program. And he always used to say to me, one day you're going to come back and work for me. And I graduated, I was in private practice, and sure enough, one day he calls me, he says, how do you like private practice? And I said, well, I like it, but I don't think this is where I'm going to be. He goes, I don't think so either. Let me tell you about this great opportunity. And he invited me over to interview for the position, and once seeing this area, the mission, the people, I didn't have a doubt in my mind. I was on the next flight out. So it truly has been a blessing to not only do a job, really, essentially, that I'm passionate about, that I truly believe in, but also serve a region and really impact. And to know that what we are creating today is going to have just this residual effect, positive effect for years to come. And that's really exciting to be part of it, especially at this early stage, the creation part. That's what's most exciting for me, being able to create all of this. And I hope that our students that come here will have not only a great education, a great clinical experience, serve these people, but will overall really have a great experience being part of the UPike family, because it's something different to be a UPike Bear. I went to a very large undergrad and a larger optometry school, but I love this. If I had to do it all over again, this is exactly where I would come. This is, this is really a community that really cares about each student individually, and all the students that have come here for interviews or for site visits have already felt that personal touch that people on campus or people on the streets, even before they get to their interview, are talking to them. And it's just it's something else to be here. You're really part of the community, and people really know that you exist. You're not lost amongst thousands. You know, this is a wonderful campus. We are only the second faith-based optometry school in a private Presbyterian institution, but we certainly welcome people of all backgrounds and all faith traditions, and respect that. So, and that's a unique part of our curriculum as well that we are including for the education of our students, that human dignity part that will be implemented into their curriculum. Because, you know, no matter what faith you have, or if you lack a faith, your patient in that chair does. So to have that understanding, that's something that we hope to also translate to our students that graduate from our program.
That's fantastic. 5 years from now, where do you see the program?
I see the program as being the best in the country, truthfully. I do see it. I do see it that it would have made an impact, but more honestly, all the schools are excellent. It's a great profession. All the schools are excellent. But this one is very unique in that because we are in Kentucky, we are able to teach our students an expanded scope of practice that they're not able to necessarily receive at other institutions. They will graduate here as surgeons as well as clinicians and great physicians. So they will be able to they will receive an education far broader in capacity versus going to any other school. But more importantly than that, in serving our mission, I hope to change those statistics that I've seen since coming here. No longer do I want to see that this area is underserved or unserved. This is going to be people who are taken care of in this area. So I hope to change that.
Sounds like you're pretty passionate about it. Is there anything else you would like to add for the viewers at home?
Well, I encourage you, if you are interested, to become an optometrist, or no matter where you are in your career, if you're in high school, if you're an undergrad, you know, look us up. We have a website, www.upike.edu/KICO. Visit our website, learn more about our programs. You can always email us at KICO Admissions, and we'll be happy to set up one-on-one tours with you, send you any information that you need. So, I encourage you, if that's something that you're passionate about or you have questions about, certainly reach out to us.
Dr. Attar, it's been fantastic having you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Hey, thank you so much for your time. This has been Bear Update. I've been Christian Wright. We'll see you next time.